So, you're having a baby and you're thinking naming them Tallulah. Well, I'd advise against it. Hey guys, I'm by TutsByKai. I'm Kai, and today we're back once again taking a look at Tallulah. No, I'm joking. We're taking a look at how to make your images a little less boring. How to enhance the images. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead. We're in GIMP today, so this works in literally any photo manipulation application in the world. Any of them, literally. Photoshop, GIMP, anything else you're using, it works in Paint, Microsoft Paint. I'm being honest. Okay, so the only thing you need is the ability to use layers and the ability to basically draw on top of it. So let's go ahead and open up the image that I'm going to be using today, which is this bad boy. I'm just click and drag it. There we go. Nice. So I'm going to scale it down a little bit. It's a little too big, so let's hit this little scale button, which is this right here. And I'm just going to scale it down a little bit and move it in. Something about right there. Nice. Looks good. So the first thing I want to do is add a new layer underneath the layer we just added. So I'm going to call this one Wraith because it's the name of the character. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the layer. What I'm going to do, instead of making this a solid black background, this would look really cool for some specific things that I would be doing. But for today, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this black, and then we're going to hit new layer above the black layer. And I'm going to grab this little color picker tool and kind of color pick this purple that's on the side of her helmet here. And I'm going to go to the layer that we have in between, turn my brush size up to a pretty big size, and kind of create a little bit of a glow around her there, which looks already really pretty cool. So we're going to take this a step further, though, by going ahead and hitting this little new layer again, and then eyedropping one more time to a lighter color, which is this little purple here, and doing the same exact thing. So we're going to only click like once this time, though, because that's pretty apparent. It's pretty bold right there. So we're going to do that about one time there. And now what I want to do is I want to kind of fit her more into the atmosphere that we have going on, that I want to kind of go for. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to duplicate her just so we can move that underneath the black layer and turn it off just so we have a duplicate. I'm going to call this Wraith Copy, like that. Nice. So with that done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the, not the erase tool, sorry, the brush tool, and hit right click on the Wraith layer, new layer group, move her into the layer group and hit new layer on top of that, also inside the layer groups. Now inside this layer group, you should have your image and then another layer. In this layer, I'm going to go ahead and turn this to erase. And now you can see if we draw over this, it's going to erase anything that is on top of it. So the reason this is cool is because we can go ahead and turn the brush size up a little bit and then click a couple of times down here at the bottom and kind of fade her into the scene, which is really pretty cool. And then if we want to take some away, we can just go ahead and use the eraser tool, erase some in pieces that we want to keep, that we want to be a little bit more visible. So there we go. Now I think I want to maybe... Now, we'll do some highlights in a little bit, but I was just testing to see what I wanted to do there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create some highlights now on top of our character. And what we're going to do is hit this little new layer button and hit OK. And instead of creating lines, just like random lines or anything, we're going to go ahead and look at where I want the light to come from. So I want there to be a light, maybe of a really strong, like pinkish purple, trying to kind of fit the scene, coming in from this direction, from behind there. So what I want to do is we'll go ahead and with a small brush, a soft brush, we'll go ahead and kind of like click and drag a nice little line around all these pieces that I kind of want to light up here. And we'll go in and we'll do a little bit more detail in a second, but we will kind of try and get this up and going. There we go. Something about that. All the way down. And we might change this color, honestly, after we're done, but we will not know until we look at it once it's finished. So we'll go ahead and do something like this. Go all the way down, and then we go ahead and hit screen, or not screen, sorry, grain merge. We'll do grain merge, and you can see it gets a nice little light. It's just a nice little light on the edge, but it looks a little weird down here, so we're going to use the blur tool. Go to filters, blur, kind of blur it up a little bit just so it's a super soft kind of glow on the back there. And we'll right click, duplicate that, give it a little bit more presence, And then down here, this is a little bit too much, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that, and then maybe soften it a little bit on the other layer as well. So we have a very nice glow on top of our character there from the back mainly. And we can go ahead and do this again. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to use this pinkish purple color, and I'm going to create I'm gonna pull this out of the group that we have because it's not a part of our character, and I'm gonna create a nice little blur just right on around the edge. And I kind of want to do another one. Hit a new layer, and I'm gonna just around the back of her there, like that. And we'll do a little blur. Nice. And I kind of want to swirl this, so I'll use this swirl tool. This has GIMP has a warp tool, which other programs do have, but I'm gonna use this and kind of like play around with the edges. GIMP is free, by the way, if you do want to use GIMP. This is a very free program. I'm gonna kind of do something like this, make it look a little cool. Maybe only on the back. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Now, I want this to look like it's fading a little bit more into that little purple piece that we have there. So I'm going to go back into our layer group. I'm going to title this group. Nice. With a new layer, I'm going to hit, I'm going to turn this to, we'll leave it for now. We won't turn it to anything other than hard light. For now, you can see what this is going to do. It's going to kind of create a little edge there. But what I do want to do is I want to create a nice little glow. But it just to kind of put it into the scene a little bit more, and then we're gonna erase some of the edges just to get it a little bit more flowed into the scene there. So have that nice little edge there. I'm gonna try and use the move tool at a smaller size to kind of fit this around some of the items in the scene. So around this little scarf here, we'll pull that piece up, pull this down like that, and then pull this down, and then we'll go across like that. Easy. And then down here, kind of fit this around her elbow a little bit. There we go. Kind of pull that across this little white band there. Nice. I'm going to erase this little bit on the top of this little piece that she has there, and on the top of this piece that she has there, because it looks a little strange. And then we'll add a slight, no, not that, slight little piece there. I'm gonna blur this. Use a smudge tool instead. Kind of smudge it up a little bit right there, so it kind of fades in. This is just a super detailed work, and I'm just doing it real time, so you can see what I'm doing, getting a little vibe ski for it, you know. All right, nice. This is looking a little strange up here, so I'm gonna go ahead and erase a little bit of this. Actually, oh, that's the blur tool. Erase a little bit of this. And we'll kind of blur it and swivel it around a little bit so it doesn't look as smooth. There we go. It looks a lot better. All right, nice. Now with the rest of that, I want to go ahead and add a new layer above this again. And we'll use a black color just to use the erase tool. And we'll erase some of this. Not like that. We'll do a big pass first. So a slightly larger brush. We'll get in there and do like a good bit of fading away. Like that. And then we'll go on with a smaller brush on a new layer. Smaller brush. And then we'll kind of make sure this is on erase. Maybe not that small. Alright. I just kind of want to fade it in so it looks like it fits a little bit better, which looks really, really cool. And then we're going to put a highlight on top of this anyway, so I'm not even too worried about it. We're going to kind of drown it. So hit new layer. And then outside of the layer, pull this outside of the layer of the group. Sorry, pull it outside of the group. And then we'll create a nice bright. This is going to be a super stylized choice here. Let's see if I can maybe pull it off. Super stylized bright. I'm going to just click a bunch of dots instead of clicking and dragging a line, because the line will be too thick. See how the line is too thick, but the dots kind of like form fit around a curve, which is what I really like. So we'll kind of do something like that. And we'll turn this. This is going to be super bright. We'll turn this to dodge. And then we'll have to go ahead and go to colors and then turn the saturation down a lot. And also maybe the lightness a little bit as well. Hit OK. And then you can kind of maybe use the blur tool to blur this up a little bit. But I kind of want to blur it in one direction. So we'll blur it on the X. Or maybe we'll do it on the Y. Ooh, I can't tell which one I like better, honestly. I think the X looked cooler. Yeah, we'll blur it on the X like that. We'll give a small amount of blur to the Y value like that. Maybe about 2. Maybe about 2, something like that. There you go. Cool. Hit OK on that. And then now we need to mess with the coloring of our character here because it doesn't necessarily fit the rest of the scene like I want it to. Let's go ahead to colors, hue, and saturation. We'll play with the hue a little bit, make it a little bit more pinkish so it kind of matches the vibe I'm going for. We'll turn the saturation maybe down, actually. Yeah, let's turn the saturation down so we kind of focus on the effects instead of the character there. And we'll turn the lightness up a little bit, but we'll hit OK. And then we'll go to colors, curves to mess with the brightness and the contrast. So make it a little brighter like that. Oh, yeah, that's really popping. And then we'll turn the contrast about there, make it look really nice. Hit OK. And that looks pretty cool if I do say so myself. Now, I think that I want to yoink. Which one is it? Is it that one? No, it's this one. I don't know where the other one is. Oh, it's the one on top. I'm silly. Okay, so this one on top here, these lines, I want to pull these backwards. Maybe slightly. No, we'll leave them where they were. I'm lying. All right. We'll crop this so later crop the content so that the lines that we just created are like on a smallest layer as possible. There we go. So we can easily like stretch it like this. I'm gonna grab this one right here, hold down Shift and Control to like stretch it this way, and then stretch it out just a little bit. And I might duplicate it, scale it, only by holding down Shift and just pulling that one down, and then maybe we'll leave it like that. Honestly, yeah, I think that works. Yeah, that works really well. Okay, nice, cool. Crop to content. What does that look like if we move this? Oh, not that. Move. Which one is it? Not that one either. Big. Do we need more? I think we definitely need some more glow. So let's go ahead and on top of everything, we shall go ahead and create a nice big brush over top of everything. Hit screen, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop the opacity down and kind of pull it inwards. So we'll kind of use the pull tool to kind of pull it in. Just so it's like, you know, it looks a little wavy in some areas. And it doesn't look super consistent everywhere, which is what I want. You can also go ahead and turn the strength up. And you can turn this to swirl if you want. So it'll swirl like that. You have a little less control, but you can get some really cool patterns. I'm going to just go ahead and stick with the move and turn the influence up. So I can kind of guide it where I want it to be. Like that. And then I'm going to always probably blur it anyway. So I'm always ready for that. I think that looks really cool. I like that. Nice. Hit enter to confirm that. And I think that looks really cool. I don't know if... Do I want to blur it? I don't think that I do. I think it looks really cool with the hard edge like that. It looks like it's kind of like coming out of her hand or something, which I think looks pretty wicked. And I might go ahead, I might go through and, oh, not that thick. I might go ahead and erase some of this like that, and then use the smudge tool. Smudge it in. That looks really cool. Do the same thing up here. Erase a little bit of this, and then smudge it in a line so it looks like it's like, you know, smoke or something. Kind of maybe whip out some of these edges like that on the ends. That looks really cool. I like that a lot. Very nice, very nice, very nice, very nice. Now I do believe that there's maybe a little bit too much on this gun here, but I don't want to do it like that. So let's go ahead and turn the opacity down, and we'll maybe just click a few times in here just to get rid of the influence of this smoke over top of some of these pieces. It's a little too foggy there. That looks a lot better. Alright, let me turn the opacity back up. It was on 15%. I had that about on 15 for the eraser. There we go. And I think the next thing that I really want to do is I kind of want to give a lot more bloom on some of these areas. So for instance, on this helmet, I'm going to kind of create some white spots there. And then drop the opacity down. Maybe turn screen on. And then blur, Gaussian blur. There we go. Looks pretty nice. I do say so myself. Maybe smudge it backwards a little bit like that. Nice, cool. And then there's this little piece here that I think looks really cool. This little triangle piece you can see. So what I want to do here is I want to kind of trace this with the lasso tool, the free select tool, and I'll just create a little triangle like this. Boom, boom, boom. Connect that up, and then I'm going to use a nice bright yellow color and fill that in on a new layer right there. And then we'll hit select none, drop the opacity, and then I'll just go ahead and get rid of this little piece in the center so I can see what's going on. Hit delete. And then we can turn the opacity back up. Now with this, I want to do two things. I want to go ahead and use filter, blur, and then blur a little bit just by like 1 pixel, just to make it like that, just so it's like super fine. And then hit screen, put it on screen, so we can see a little bit of that nice blur. And then I'll hit new layer, and then we'll create a big glow. But I think I want to make it maybe aspect ratioed out a little bit like that. So turn the aspect ratio up to maybe 5. Turn the mode screen. Drop the opacity down a little bit, and then maybe do the same thing. Layer, okay, and then this time I'll turn the aspect ratio back to 0, make it a full circle like that, and then we'll scale it ourselves. So crop the content, and then we'll hit Control Shift, and we'll scale it inwards. So this one's like really skinny like that. Really cool. And then we'll hit screen. And then we would drop the opacity. Instead of dropping the opacity, we'll actually go ahead and I'll duplicate this layer. We'll hide the second one that we just duplicated. And then we'll just erase the edges. So the middle is still very bright. And then when we put the other one back on, we'll drop the opacity. And then we'll duplicate the one in the center again. Okay, so really quickly, so we should have 3 of these layers. So the first one is like the full one, like that, where the opacity is all the way dropped down. We should have a second one where the middle is the only thing that's bright, and the edges, the tips, so this piece over here and this piece over here are kind of erased. And then we just duplicated that one piece again, so we have 2 of those. So it looks a little brighter there in the center. One more new layer maybe, and then we'll create a nice smaller ball of glow there. Screen, and then we'll drop the opacity maybe to like 70. Yeah, it looks really cool. Nice. Sweet. I like that quite a bit. One of the last things that I want to do maybe is adding some cool little effect looking things. So let's go ahead and use the lasso tool, and I'll kind of like make it look like it's coming out from behind her. So I'll curve it out like this, and I'll kind of maybe like do something like that, and then have it come in and back out, and then we'll do like this and around her, and then I'll kind of go back through. It looks like fire, some kind of smoke trail or something really cool. Like that, and then I'll connect it back up. Nice, cool. So then we'll use maybe this color for now. Fill that in. Hit select none. And then use the brush tool here to erase this piece that's behind her arm. Just get rid of that for a second. We're going to blur it, so we'll have to do that again. But for now, we'll hit duplicate layer. Move that underneath just so we have a nice duplicate of it. I think I might move this up a little bit. Alright, no, it was fine the way it was, where it was. Now you can see we have a little harsh line on this, so I'm going to go ahead and hit blur, Gaussian blur, and kind of bump it up a little bit like that. Hit OK, maybe to 5 pixels. Hit OK. And now because I want this to look like it's smoke, I'll turn the mode to screen, and then we'll kind of drop the opacity down a little bit. And what I want to do is I'll duplicate this once again, just so we have like duplicates in case we ever want to use it again. Turn it, pull it all the way down, turn the layer off so we can't see it. And then we'll do the same technique we did earlier, where we kind of erase some pieces like this, you know? And then we'll smudge them together. Like that. Super easy stuff. Nice. And then we'll do the same thing over and over again until I'm happy with how smudgy it looks, or how blurred it looks. So it looks like it actually has like, you know, trails of smoke and whatnot. Yeah, it looks cool. Kind of just play around with it. It gets much easier once you're kind of used to this kind of technique. And I'll kind of smudge the edges as well, kind of make it look like it's a little rough. Yeah, this looks sweet. Love that. This little piece through here can be a little smudged. all these edges can be like frailed out. Nice. That piece, that piece. We'll kind of go from the inside here. Nice. And then we'll have to do this little tip over here as well. I don't want to mess with that too much, so we'll kind of start back here, I think. And then there we go. Pull it in right there. There we go. That looks pretty cool. This little piece right here is bugging me. I don't think it's empty enough there. So we'll kind of try and see what we can do. Still really not enough, I don't think. Okay. That's probably fine. Nice. So it kind of looks like this is a tail as well. This looks kind of like a tail maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll flip it the other way so it doesn't look like that. Oh, yeah. It looks really cool. All right. Nice. Cool. So now this is way too bright, obviously, and it's taking way too much focus away from the rest of the image. So what I'm going to do is we're going to drop the opacity way down like that so it kind of matches the other smoke we have in the background. We'll duplicate it. And then we'll pull the opacity up a little bit, and then we'll erase some pieces that we want to kind of blend in a little bit more. So right there, there. Nice. Okay, so that's a little brighter there, and I'll duplicate it one more time to like further highlight the areas that we want to be highlighted. So this little edge here, this and the tip back there, and we'll duplicate it one more time, and then this one will blur this one. So blur, Gaussian blur. And then we will turn that up a little bit like that. I think for the darkest one that we have in the background, this like the base that we have, I think I'm gonna blur this one a lot. So hit blur, Gaussian blur, and then we'll blur it up a little bit more, like that. And then I think might blur the other one too. No, we won't. Never mind. All right, cool. So that looks really sweet. I think the other piece in the background might be too much now, though. I think that might be too much. Oh, I did this on the same layer with the glow on accident. Oh, no. That's fine. We can add more. It's okay. We'll just add another glow real quick. That's too big. Like that. Drop the opacity down. Put the screen. All right, cool. Super easy stuff. And then we will kind of get rid of some of that in there so we can see. Actually, not that much. Drop the opacity down. Nice. Okay, cool. Perfect. Nice. Perfect. And then I do want maybe a slight bit more coming out from behind her. So let's put this underneath her, and then we'll kind of do like this. We'll kind of do like this. There we go. And then maybe we'll turn that to screen, and then blur, Gaussian blur. Oh, ooh, focus blur might look kind of cool for the end product, but not for this. Blur, Gaussian blur, and we'll bump that up. There we go. Looks pretty nice, pretty swell, pretty cool. Nice. I'm trying to think of what else we could maybe do here. I think actually maybe with these trails that we have here, I think I might want to get rid of it from in front of her. Like that. No? I don't know how I feel about the trail, honestly. I think it looks really cool, but I think it kind of takes away from the glow that we have on her back, which I don't want it to do. So let's go ahead, and I'm actually going to back seat it for now, because I think it is maybe taking away a little bit. But that is a really cool effect that you can do. So let's go ahead. I think the last thing that I want to do here is copy visible, paste as new layer, and we'll do some of the final touches here. So duplicate layer, and then I'll hit blur. We'll blur it like that. Turn the mode to soft light, and we'll go ahead and drop the opacity a little bit. So it kind of gives it a nice soft effect, and it also deepens some of the colors as well. And then we'll go ahead and copy visible once again, paste as, new layer in place. And then for this, we'll slightly move it over. So hit screen, we'll turn to screen, and we'll slightly move it over to the left like that. And then I'll hit colors, colorize, and then I'll make it like a different color. I think the best color to probably do here would be blue, like a blue like that. And then we'll drop the opacity down a little bit so it's not as bluish. Just so it looks a little a little glitchy. And then on some areas that I want you to focus on, like the face, I'll make sure the opacity is down on the eraser tool, and then I'll kind of erase some of those areas. So I want you to maybe focus on this back piece here as well, maybe your hand. So yeah, so we'll just erase some of those pieces. But that was really cool. You can do the same thing to the other direction as well for like a red, green, blue kind of, what is it called? Chromatic abrasion kind of effect. But I think this might be a little bit too much for the thing that we're working on right now because it makes everything a little too glitchy. But I mean, maybe you could pull it off. I think. That looks fine. That looks good. That's cool. That's just fine. Okay. Well, it's copy visible, paste as, new layer. So now we have this. I want to go ahead and duplicate it again. Just we have, different versions. Blur, focus blur, and then I'll kind of move it up here, pull it out like that, and then turn the blur radius down so it's not as strong. But just for that nice little effect on her hand down here and her legs, it has a nice little blur to it. Hit OK. And then we could potentially duplicate this and then go to maybe where is it? I can't remember. Artistic. No, it's somewhere through here. Oh, we could definitely add some edge to this, or some neon to this rather. Probably do edge, to be honest. Screen. Let's do neon. Where is it? Edge detect, neon. Neon's probably a lot better. Yeah, radius, and then we'll do intensity. Turn the radius down about there. Make it a little bit more intense. I want it to be really thin lines that it kind of picks up on. Hit OK. Go to layer, transparency, color to alpha, and make sure you select black to get rid of all the blacks. And then what we'll do is we'll turn this from colors to solid white. Hit OK. And then turn this mode from normal to overlay. And now you can see we have a nice little kind of highlight to some of those edges there, which just looks really sweet and kind of makes it pop a little bit. If you want it to, I think it might be a little bit too. Okay, yeah, on grain merge it looks really, really sweet as well. I'll leave it on grain merge for today. Kind of highlights everything, just makes it stand out a little bit more, which is really cool. We'll copy everything again. So edge, copy visible, paste as, new layer. And then one of the last things that we'll do is, well, actually we'll do two things, well, three things maybe. High pass, turn that up. A lot of contrast. Hit OK, and turn this to overlay. You can see we have a nice little effect when we turn the opacity down a little bit. Nice little effect there, which I think looks really cool. It kind of just deepens the colors once again and makes everything look a little bit more strong. So it looks really, really nice. Once again, copy visible, paste as, new layer in place. And then for this one, we will go ahead and use the noise texture, HSV noise, I do believe. And then we'll turn the saturation up quite a bit. I do love me some grain. And we'll turn the hue all the way down. And the value, we can turn it up a little bit. I do want it to be pretty grainy. I like the grain. We can turn the dulling up a little bit if you want it to be a little blurred, a little less individual pixel like that. It looks kind of crazy. But I'm going to turn it to about maybe 4. And it looks pretty good. With and without the grain. Maybe we'll do a little bit more, actually. Maybe we'll add a little bit more like that. Just so we can really see that grain. I love the grain. I think that looks really cool. Hit OK. And there we have it. That is basically everything that I would like to do to this image. And this is a big difference than what we started with, which, if just to refresh your memory, was let me actually just copy and paste the original. Copy, paste. There we go. And just a solid black background. So this is a big difference here from what we have just seen moments ago. So this is a major difference. So that is very crazy. Hope you, ladies and gentlemen, enjoyed it. I will see you in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.